was heavy. Trials all around and the road was unsteady. But the Father hold me with his righteous hand. Now I'm marching strong in the walk holy band. Who make our way? Jesus, make our way. Who keep we strong? Jesus, all day long. No weapon formed against I could prosper at all. Though the mountains may rise, I shall never fall. Through the fire and rain, still I lift in praise. God been good to me all the days of my days. Hey. Walk holy, hey. On the King Highway. Walk holy, every step we pray. Walk holy, night and day. Walk holy, children. Do not stray. One more river, one more mountain, one more valley. Children keep climbing. Hold the banner, do not tire. Holy Ghost, send down the fire.
The Marcia Weekes Show. It's the Marcia Weekes Show. From Barbados to Africa, voices unite. Educate minds, elevate sight. It's the Marcia Weekes Show. It's the Marcia Weekes Show. From Barbados to Africa, voices unite. Educate minds, elevate sight. It's the Marcia Weekes Show. Talk truth, build roots, stories unfold. Motivate change, mobilize is the mode. That's the MR code. Hey. We growing, we know it.
Free. everybody. Oh, what a wonderful Sunday this is. And you just heard the national anthem of Barbados. And I have in my hand the flag of Barbados. Isn't it wonderful? And it's great. Isn't it great, guys? Do you see that the Prime Minister is wearing the flag? How many of you see that? And I know it's as a result of you all. It's a result of this show. She is wearing the flag. I literally saw the flag, not just the trident, but the flag the last time she was at CARICOM. I think that is wonderful. I wonder why. I tell you, good evening, good evening. You are watching the Marcia Weekes Show, and we're coming to you live, from Barbados. The national flag of Barbados. And tonight, folks, we have a really, really serious and powerful show. We're going to be focusing a lot of our attention later on in the show on the QEH Hospital. What is really happening at the Queen Elizabeth Hospital and the Barbados' district hospitals, the geriatric hospitals, as we would call them. Patients and nurses and other healthcare workers, they are continuing to raise serious concerns. We talked a lot about last week, medication shortages. Now we're going into the facility, folks. This is serious. Patient care and staffing and the conditions within the public healthcare system. This is important. And tonight will be part one, and then we're going to do part two later in the week. It's that the story is that big. We have to separate it. Okay. And we have some serious questions for the Minister of Health and Awareness, Lisa Cummins. We need her to answer some of what we're hearing. We need her to give a clear update to Minister Lisa Cummins, a clear update on the state of the nation's healthcare services. That's what we want out of this, guys. And I tell you something, this might be something we will have to march on. We might have to hit the streets on this, guys. This is too important. We're going to also go over into Guyana and look a little bit on Guyana's former president's benefits bill. And you might say, why are we looking at the Guyana former president's benefits bill? Because we need to learn something from that. And we're going to take some time at 7:30 with the former Senator Maxine McCLEAN as we explore Guyana's former president's benefits bill. And we have JASON Phillips. Attorney JASON Phillips is here. He's also the DLP candidate for St. Peter. He's a St. Peter man, you know that. And so he is taking it to us, taking it to the bread and butter issues. Let's put it like that. He's taking it to the table, the kitchen table. And he's asking, is government wiping out the middle class? Have you checked the price of a cooking gas? Even the small bottle, I'm being told, is $20 in Greece, like 2020. Oh my goodness, where do you find something? I mean, this is cooking gas. So we want to know, is government wiping out the middle class? And we're going to talk about some of our Elevate community initiatives. We're going to start the program with that. And I really want you tonight at 9:15, especially on the issues of the hospital and some of the issues of the economy, and how are you managing with the new prices in the supermarket, the increased prices. We want to hear from everybody at 9:15 tonight. 9:15, 9:20, we'll tell you when, okay? But we must get in this stuff about the QEH tonight. It is too important. Yes, we're going to ask you kindly to like and to share. Yes, we want you to like and share. If you have not done that, please do so. Now, good night, Shirley. Where is Shirley? Hey, Shirley, you're the first name I saw, but you're not the first to have signed on. Sharon signed on very, very early today at 11:40 a.m. Sharon signed on. and then we had Judy Gillett. Hey, Judy. Hey, Judy. Good evening, Monica, Andrea, Critchlow, Mavis, Lashley. Together, we're doing great things, guys. We're doing great things tonight. Bajan Boy, you are confirmed, Bajan Boy, for the World Cup finals that we are going to watch together. You're confirmed. Lucinda Allen, hey, Calendar, Jefferson Sobers, Mavis Lashley, Marie Foley, Jacqueline Allen. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Hey, Lori Bob. We've got stuff to work on, Lori. We have stuff where I'm checking on some things. I'll focus on that tomorrow night in our community section. Joy and Faith, good evening, good evening. I am a big girl. No, I'm a big girl. Did you know? I don't know if you guys knew that this competition, this challenge that we started here on the Marcia Weekes Show, the Black Belly Sheep Song Challenge, that thing has gone viral in Guyana. They are having they're having the time of their lives with this one. So if are you up there, Carol, you can write. Hey, Carol, you can write. Who is going to write a song? Write a song, on this issue. One sheep, two countries, one song. All genres are welcome. So, Lori Bob, thank you for liking and sharing, Lori Bob. And she's asking others to do the same. Hi, Aretha. Aretha, can you write? Can you sing, Aretha? Listen, you don't have to sing the song that you've written. There might be somebody who might be able to sing the song, right? Hey, John Clark, how are you? Marcia Miller, hey, Marcy. Angela White and Beverly Perscott. Beverly, you can sing, you can write a song, the Great Black Belly Sheep Song Challenge. And what this is going to do is we're not going to let this lose leave our minds, because they like to say we're a 9-day wonder and it's going to just go. We still have so many questions to ask because they have not produced a picture yet, not even a picture. Don't even get me started on that. Guyana produced an old picture and the Guyanese said, no, you're wrong. That's a picture from 2 years ago. How many years ago? Well, let me see what Barbados is going to come up with, because we're going to get them. They got to come with a picture. If they come with a picture, then we're going to leave it alone. But show us it all. But who's going to write the song? Beverly, Colin Roach. Colin, you ready? You ready to march, Colin? This is having to do with the QEH. This is a serious situation that's going on. And we're getting whistleblowers inside there that are trying to get the word out. Hey, Aaron and Shirley. Hey, Shirley. Hey, Cammie, Mavis. I can't call everybody tonight. Mildred. Oh, my Lord, the time is going away from me. Yes. Okay, Shirley said she just liked and shared. I'm hoping that we will do the same. All right. Now, before I go, we have a whole community section that I'm going to talk about, but I want to say to everybody that tomorrow night we do have a very special segment of our program. We normally have our health corner. Tomorrow night we have Dr. St. Rose from St. Lucia. You might have remembered her. She's been on the show before, where her license was suspended because she was trying to help people who had COVID. She was actually administering ivermectin. I can now say that. You remember the time when they would not even allow us to say ivermectin on YouTube? And here, this woman, I don't know if Dave can put that ad up with Dr. St. Rose, and where she is going to talk about life after COVID, post-COVID vaccine symptoms, long COVID. And the interesting thing about Dr. Rose is that she is talking about natural recovery, what you can do to deal with the impact. And I've put this up on I put this up on YouTube on my Facebook page, and already people are already giving their stories. So there are lots of people who have been affected one way or the other, and we want to keep reaching out to our people. So that's a special show tomorrow. You need to tune in and send it out to others as well. Very, very important that we do so. Yeah. Yes, I do. Well done. I really do, because we're a family. Welcome to Well Done. Hello, Well Done. Welcome. Wonderful, wonderful. All right, so let's get going in to our this evening. I want to start with the community, our community initiatives that we have, and this is important, and it's an important part of what we do. And so if Dave could just go ahead and put up, let's put up the football, the World Cup football competition that is happening, FIFA World Cup finals. What am I talking about? The FIFA World Cup finals. And this is taking place on Sunday, July 19th. This is 1 week from today. All right, 7 days from today. And it starts at 1 p.m. And we do this, as a family. These ideas come from the show. It comes out of the discussion. We've been discussing a lot about families and the fatherlessness in Barbados. Who remember that video that we did with Elevate with the young lady, and it was just so sad. When children, they don't have the relationship with their fathers. And so one of the things that we do here on the Marcia Weekes Show, we educate, we motivate, we mobilize, we agitate. So it's not just, we don't just talk about issues like other shows, but we actually get out there and we get it done. And so this issue of fatherlessness is a problem in Barbados. Sometimes even when the father is present, there's not a strong relationship. And the first event that we had was Dinner with Dad on Father's Day. And that was a big success. We're still working with those young men under 40 years and under, attended with their children. It was a big success. And here we are embarking on another event on Sunday. And the fathers are excited. They're bringing their children, and they're coming out, and they will be watching the football, the FIFA World Cup finals. Now, I don't know. I was watching a game last night, and I tell you, oh my Lord, that thing is so exciting. I don't know who is going to win. I don't know who is going to win. Anybody out there watching watching football? Some cheering for England, some cheering for France. Who we cheering for? Argentina. Well, come out and bring your children, and let's see. Dave is putting up that France and Spain, they're playing tomorrow, and then England and Argentina. Oh my goodness. So who are the two that will be in the finals? Who do you think will be in the finals, guys? This is getting quite exciting. Take all the politics out of it. Somebody said Germany and Russia, that's your team, but then they're no longer in. They're no longer in. So what we are, whoever's in the finals, we are going to flood down on Caven's Lane, and we're going to have a great event. Now, Dave, if you could just show us what it is that we need, okay? And I think that is important, and because whatever we do it as a family. And you, somebody said France all the way, Mbappe. Argentina, Jacqueline says. All right, so guys, in order for us to make that event a possibility, we need the help of the community because we're doing it together. All right. So here we are. And somebody said to me, Marcia, you probably should get somebody else to ask, because you shouldn't do it, so people don't say you are begging. I actually don't care because I'm not begging it for myself. All right. And it's not a beg, actually. I don't even see it as begging. I see it as us working together. We've never been able to accomplish anything without us working together. All of us have been working together. So we need 10 whole chickens, y'all. 8 packs of macaroni for macaroni pie. Mac and cheese, but I meant macaroni pie. That's a Jamaican in me coming out. Don't kill me for that. It's a macaroni pie. We need some blocks of cheese. We need 50 hot dogs, 50 hot dog buns, bags of fries, cooking oil. And I know this one is not as healthy, but it's a fun event, and there'll be a lot of children there. We need juice, water. We also need some soft drinks as well. Disposable cups, takeaway food containers, plastic cutlery, napkins. We need lettuce, tomatoes, cucumbers, carrots, ketchup, mustard, mayonnaise, salad dressing, or any monetary contribution toward the event. Just as I was getting ready to start the show, minutes, somebody just said, Marcia, I have just sent some donation to the account for this event. We still need more. So, to make this event a big success and the children and everybody leaving very happy, it is important, very important. Fathers are still talking about what happened with the dinner with dad. They're still talking about that, and you made it possible. And so we need your help again. Chickens, we need but if you look in your cupboard, you have any macaroni in there that we can use to make the macaroni pie. You know the type. All right. You Bajans, you know the type. We need hot dogs and hot dog buns and bags of fries and cooking oil and drinks and disposable cups, takeaway food containers, plastic cutlery, napkins. Because you might say, Marcia, I don't have any monetary donation, but here is something I can give. And why that is important, I want to show you how much we actually collected for the dinner with dad, and that is so important. And I started doing this when we always have our accounting, and I say to you, if you want to see it, you can call. But I thought this evening I'm going to put this up because I want you to see what your donations have done and what the donations have been like, right? So this was a dinner with dad that was held on June 21st, and this was prepared and sent to me by somebody else on the team. Although I did sit down and crunch the numbers because I wanted to make sure that they were correct. So thank you. You know yourself who the person who put the numbers together. We give her the receipts and all the invoices, and then she puts it together. Cash donations received for that event was $2,372.71. And then we got donations in kind, like what I'm asking you about. Okay. Tents. We got a $500 reduction in the price for the tents. For the 2 tents, we only had to pay the transportation cost. Chicken, we got chicken from Chick Mount, and we put a dollar figure on it. So this is not money we've collected. The donations in kind, number 2 here in green, these are actual things that we received. Okay, no money. The money we receive is $2,372.71. If you've just joined, that is for the event that is gone. All right. And somebody donated fish, pork ribs, seasonings and condiment and cooking supplies, head covers and gloves. Somebody just gave macaroni pie, Joelle and Apostle Breedy walked up in there with a big macaroni pie. Corn pie, Andre Warrell. Oh, he's a good cook too. And then we got decorations and hosting. Now that we did not put a figure on it because somebody just donated their skill and their time to us. The beverages, they were donated by Gospel Fest, Things Gospel. They did all the beverages for the event. Okay. And our total in kind um, donations for the dinner with dad was $869.38. And I'm taking the time tonight to actually go through this with you because I want you to realize what is happening. We are working together. This did not come out of Praise Academy or come out of Dave's and I. We donated, of course, but this did not all come from us. It came from you. We do it together, right? And then let's go down now, Dave, to the expenses. And if anybody wants to see this, they can email, WhatsApp me. We're definitely trying to send it out to everybody who gave money so you can actually see what is done. This is what I used to do this in the very beginning. And I stopped because somebody said, Marcia, people will take this information and try to, do nefarious things with it, etc. But you know what? We're an open book. Do what you want to do. Do what you want to do. Yeah. So the tables and chairs, this is how we spent. I want to go through all of that. But the total actual expenses was $2,000.03. $2,003.06. I'm sorry. And Dave, if you go to the to the summary, total cash donations, total donations in kind that we just went through. And so the total support we received from here, from the family. That's why somebody said, Marcia, why do you call out everybody? I understand, but because we do it, we are working as a community. This in itself is a community as well. And so our cash balance remaining is $369.65. Okay. And we are committed to transparency and accountability. And we thank every donor, volunteer, and partner whose generosity made Dinner with Dad possible. Together, we are building strong fathers, strong families, strong communities. And it is with this in mind that we go into, Dave, if we could go into that, into the Sunday, the next event that we're having on Sunday. If we could see that now, that's what's going to happen on Sunday. We are going out again. And somebody said, is it worth it? Yes, it's worth it. It's worth it because we are seeing the impact. I can't tell all the stories on here. When I come on, I can't tell all the stories on here because you don't want to say out everybody's business. But I'm telling you, this connection with our men is happening. It's working. I hear from them almost every week. You're hearing from somebody. And that's what we want. That's what we want. So we now need 10 whole chickens, 8 packs of macaroni, cheese, hot dogs, hot dog buns, fries, cooking oil, soft drinks, disposable cups, takeaway food containers, plastic cutlery, napkins, lettuce, tomatoes, cucumbers, carrots, ketchup, mustard, mayonnaise, salad dressing, or any monetary contribution toward the event. Okay? So that is what is happening. Contact 236-7000 if you are able to get that done. Okay, if you want to donate anything towards what is happening, please give us a call, and we obviously we have to get everything at least before Saturday, so we know what we have. So I think that would be great. Now, Dave, thank you. Thanks so much. Now, I want to share this with you as I wait. Miss McCLEAN is coming up. MAXINE McCLEAN is going to come at 7:30. But just let me say to you guys that I wanted you to get an idea of what we are doing, what is happening. Okay? This is what is happening. Dinner with Dad was June 21st. here we are, July 19th, we're going to have FIFA Cup finals with Dad. An afternoon of excitement, fellowship, and fun as fathers and the children cheer together and enjoy quality time watching the world's biggest game, right? Then we're going to come back to you again with assistance needed for back to school with Dad. Now, back to school with Dad is going to be very different. It's going to be practical session and conversations that equip fathers and students for a successful school year, academically, mentally, and spiritually. So we're going to bring, by God's grace, the fathers and the children together, and we're going to have some practical sessions with them. Okay? And for that, if you have ideas, reach out to us, right? And then the final thing for the year is Christmas with Dad. And this is a festive celebration filled with family fun, games, treats, gifts, and the joy of Christmas together. So you get an idea of where we're going, because I believe the same way we were marching. You remember when we saw something wrong in Barbados, we would get up and we would march on it, wouldn't we? Yes. Now, what I'm saying is that what we have done, we are going to continue marching, but for the moment, this is an area here, guys, where most of the homicides that we are seeing in Barbados is men. It's men, and we could sit and we could list the names and we could come on and talk about it every night. And we could say what the government is supposed to do. However, right? However, if the government doesn't do anything, what's going to happen? We're going to sit down. We're able-bodied people, you know, and we're going to sit down and not do anything. And that's for one reason we do the Elevate. If Dave could do that little video quick before Miss McCLEAN said she's signing in now. Let's have that video as Dave is getting ready for us to look at another Elevate program that we have been doing. We've been doing it together. That's the beauty of this. It's a together thing. We have books coming in from overseas, people putting stuff in barrels and sending it. Not our thing, it's your thing and it's my thing. And I'm saying that, you know, we tell the government where to go on the show, but there comes a time, there's some things that we can do for each other. Dave, just play this video really quickly before Miss McCLEAN as she's settling in. No volume. It's no volume. Yeah, we're going to just play that for you. And yes, it should play now.
We elevate higher every day. We elevate, learning all the way. Open every door, dream a little more. Together we rise. We elevate. Every page is a brand new start. Building strong minds, building strong hearts. Big ideas can lead the way. Growing stronger every day. Every child, every friend, learning never has to end. One community, one dream, brighter than we've ever seen. Step, step, step by step, side by side, moving with a little pride. Lift it up, celebrate. Everybody, everybody, everybody. We elevate higher every day. We elevate, learning all the way. Open every door, dream a little more. Together we rise, we elevate. Be the page, share a smile, go the extra mile. Learn together,
McCLEAN. That is Michelle. That's Michelle. And that's what I'm telling the people. If we're doing this together, Miss McCLEAN, and I've seen how you have stepped in, even for my own son when he was traveling, you made sure you put a little by. He was going away to study. Remember that? And I'm talking about her business because this is what this woman lives. I can tell you she's the real deal. I love her. I love Caswell Franklin. These are people who taught me, Marcia, walk the walk. People like Caswell Franklin and Maxine McCLEAN, and I appreciate these people. And Miss McCLEAN, you guys have helped to shape this program, the Marcia Weekes Show. And look at what is happening. Look at the community work, man. I was telling them how you gave my son a bag of what a sheet set. He was traveling. He was going to study in Trinidad, and you made sure you did that. Go right ahead. Make sure we can hear you. We can't hear. Oh, we can't hear. No audio. No audio. Yes, she's gonna go out and come back in. And as she's doing that, we can't hear her. Dave, can you show the picture that I had with a young man? So I'm going to tell you a little story before Miss McCLEAN comes on. I can get a little emotional. Oh, Dave is showing you this is the screen that we're going to be showing the FIFA World Cup on. All right, and it's a daylight screen. It's LED. It's beautiful. It's gonna be awesome, and we're gonna have a big sound system. So everybody in our gap gonna be able to hear. They're gonna be able to hear the FIFA World Cup finals. But Dave, there's another picture there with a young man or neighbor who he's about probably 16 or 17 years old, just finished St. Michael's School, and he came up to where we were doing the elevate at the church, and taught the seniors. I don't know if you could find that. Yes, that's him there in the black shirt. Look at this young man. Look at this young man. You pass him on the street, you would never believe that he could be able to do something like that. And he left his home. He just graduated the week before. He told me, "Ma'am, I will come and help, but I have graduation," he said. He said, "I will come and I will help because I have graduation." All right. And but after graduation, and guess what? I didn't call him. I said, "Let me see if he's serious." And believe it or not, at 5:30, he was walking up the stairs. And right now, you see 4 adults there. There were, I think, about 6 eventually. And he was teaching them how to move between their computer and their smartphone. And I just thought, of course, I shed a tear, because I really want to see our young men. I'm all for the young men. I'm all, yes, the young women, but our young men are in crisis. And so, I'm really happy that this young man took the time to come to, and so to work with the elderly, with the seniors. I'm not calling them elderly, with the seniors, and it's showing, yes, it's really fantastic. It is showing you the intergenerational aspect of Elevate, and I think that I am so proud of him and grateful to every one of you who sent a book, pencils, computers are on their way in barrels coming down. Books are on their way. The children are learning. I saw a mother in the community this morning, a grandmother. I said, "How is the reading going?" She said, "He's learning. He's not sitting still, but I'm reading with him." And that's what's happening. It's a community thing. All right, a community thing that is happening. I think that is really, really wonderful. Yes. We're waiting on Miss McCLEAN to join us. Yes, let's see if this is going to be better. I see her now. Good night, Miss McCLEAN. Oh. Yeah, I don't know if Dave, you could see what you can do to help her there. What's happening with her laptop? We're not hearing her. In the meantime, folks, I know some of you have been asking how you can donate. I want to say to you, give us a call 236-7000, and we will then provide you with the banking information. Yeah. Wow. Right now, folks, I am still getting, you see, I'm looking in my phone. I am getting calls about the geriatric hospitals. You've got to stay tuned. This is not entertainment, y'all. Stay tuned, folks. This is not 8:30. I am going to deal with this straight on. Straight facts I'm going to give you of what I know that the whistleblowers have said to me, and I have checked with others. It's been corroborated, and I want the minister to come out and tell us if what I am saying is true. This is about the hospital. Dave, if you could put that picture up while we're waiting on Miss McCLEAN. I don't want to. I wonder if Jason is ready. Jason Phillips, let me know if you're ready. I see you there. Hi, Mr. Phillips. Okay. Let me know if you're ready. But we're going to talk about the QEH. The program, we have not moved to our next topic because we are waiting on Miss McCLEAN to join us, where we should be talking about the Guyana former president's benefits and other facilities bill. What can Barbados learn? Okay, but let me just see if Mr. Phillips might be ready, and we might be able to move him up a bit as we wait on Miss McCLEAN to join us. Okay, great. The Walk Holy Band presents Pure, and it is pure indeed. It is pure indeed. I was at the concert last year, and it was indeed a special time. Where this year we have Kid Sight is going to join us. You know, you have a big song, and of course the announcer with a big song as well. Blood is going to be there, and you know, we have the Apache, Sammy Jane, Juliana, James Lee Cock, Lady Virtue will be there. Richard Antonio. Listen, Colin Spencer was there the last time as well. He was so great. We have a great time at Pure. And for those of you who are coming to watch the football, it's right after the football. So the football is finished, and then we're going to go right on that microphone. Right away, and the calypso starts. Some people going to be rejoicing and some will not be. So we're going to see. We're going to see what happens there. All right. Well, as usual, you know, Mr. Jason Phillips, oh, he's a man who is always ready. And I see he's getting ready to come on to save the day. It's really a pleasure working with Mr. Jason Phillips. I love his that go-getter attitude that he has. And I wish him all the best. And I really love what he is talking about tonight. And as he gets ready to join us, I'm going to kindly ask you to take a moment and to share. Everybody go ahead and share, please. Everybody like and share. If you have not done that yet, go ahead and like and share if you have not done that just yet. Yes, wonderful. All right. Let me welcome Mr. Jason Phillips. Good night, Jason. Welcome to the Marcia Weekes Show.
Good evening, Marcia. Good evening, the good people of St. Peter, and by extension, good night, Barbados.
Oh, it's a pleasure having you. Pleasure having you for sure. And tonight we have serious business to deal with because we're talking about bread and butter issues, kitchen table issues. We're talking about gas prices, you know. And your question is, you're asking the question: is government wiping out the middle class? You're looking at the rising costs, right? That is happening in Barbados because of, you know, the fuel prices. They're telling us that, but we know that there's some taxes that they could easily, we're not going to say easily, but they could plan for it, in removing some of those taxes. So the question is tonight, Jason, how have the increases in the fuel, excise tax, and VAT affected the average Barbadian?
Well, even before I answer that specific question, I just want to give the viewer audience some context. You know that within the last 2 weeks, the cost of liquefied petroleum gas has increased twice in 2 weeks. So we have a £100 cylinder moving from $160.39 to $182.81. That is an increase of $22.42, or a 14% increase. That's a huge amount of money to put onto the public in such a short space of time. It says to me that this government really does not even consider the average Barbadian. Consider someone who has a food business. I have to buy that £100 gas cylinder. It means now that she has to increase her cost. Of the £25 cylinder, LPG cylinder, move from $46.70 to $50.80. For crying out loud, you have to have some heart. Barbados Labour Party led government, the £22 cylinder and the £20 cylinder also increased significantly. And we know that when the cost of fuel increases, especially in such a significant manner, it affects every sector of the economy. And when cost of transporting goods and providing services rises, businesses often pass that increase, that extra cost, to their customer. And you have to, that is then compounded with the expensive VAT at 17.5%, right?
Yeah.
So as a result, families are paying more for groceries, they're paying more for transportation, they're paying more for utilities and other essential
but Jason, if I may pause there, because some people, they are listening and they might say, well, there's nothing the government can do about this. There's increase in fuel prices all over the world. We know what is happening in the Strait of Hormuz and so on. But here you are talking about the VAT. Can you explain how the government could do something about that particular tax in particular?
I am so very glad you asked me that question. First of all, and I'm going to say it very slowly, Barbadians elect government to manage the affairs of the economy, not to hide behind external factors, because regardless of what government is in power, there will always be external factors, whether it was the Gulf War in the 90s, whether it is the Ukraine war that's going on in Eastern Europe, whether it is the war that is going on in Western Asia, or what you call the Middle East. There will always be problems in the world, but we elect a government to manage our economy, to protect us from these things. So if you know you are unable, unwilling to manage the economy, and instead use the external factors as an excuse for behaving in a way that you are, then we have no need for a government like what we have now. And furthermore, our oil or gas doesn't come from Iran. We get our fuel from next door Venezuela. So
mainly it's Venezuela, or is it the US?
Venezuela.
Okay.
Right? We don't get our fuel from West Asia, but at the end of the day, the government must institute policies to protect our people. Let me give a perfect example. A study was done by the Inter-American Bank, and they discovered in the year of that study that government earned $227.5 million from the fuel excess tax. That accounted for 7% of government revenue. So you can see that government is getting a wash of money from the fuel and excess tax. And this fuel and excess tax is only 7%. So if government really wants to ease the pressure, they could consider doing a number of things. One, they could reduce the VAT. Perhaps move it from 17.5% back to 15% and see how things work out.
Yeah.
They can also reduce the fuel excess tax because as it is, not only did they make $227.5 million in the year, on an annual basis, government is raking in $183 million. You know, they get a lot of money. They can give people some elbow room.
Yeah, you know, I'm saying that this excise, the fuel excise tax. I mean, I know that during the budget they said that they were going to do some kind of it is a 2026 budget. They announced a temporary reduction in the fuel excise tax. Okay, it was temporary, and so therefore I am saying that if you could actually reduce it, it means that if we're having these external factors, as you're saying, Jason, right? My question is, what is stopping the government from considering reducing that tax? They are, as you just, they're collecting a whole bunch of money, a whole set of money in revenue.
Hundreds of millions. Listen, remember we used to pay road tax. Remember?
Yes.
And they start with the road tax and they get in the tax through the fuel. So as you put fuel in your car, you're getting money. So they're getting money from the where they used to get money once a year from owner of an automobile. They get time you fuel up your vehicle. But what is worse, they're not only getting money for fueling up vehicles, they're also getting money for fueling a lawnmower. When you fuel the bushwhacker.
Wow.
When you fuel the tractor that is in the cane ground. So the net is not even wider. So whereas they were getting X amount of money from vehicles that were using the road, they're now capturing any person. If you go and buy fuel to light the grass or cook in the yard, they're getting fuel tax on that. So they could, because the net is so wide and they have captured so many people, they could lower the fuel tax. So I'm not saying get rid of it, but you can lower it.
It can be lowered because
the amount of money they're making, they can lower the tax. But
correct.
And listen, this got implications for the middle class because the middle class may or earns too much money to qualify for government assistance, but not enough money to comfortably absorb this continuous increase in the cost of living. And as a result, what is going to happen over time, because government is taxing these people, they're going to become their spending power. The spending power is going to become less and less. And what government is doing, government is fueling inflation because things are now becoming more and more expensive. So you're going to find that those people who are in the middle class or the lower middle class are now going to be in the working poor.
Correct.
And those people who are in the middle class or the upper middle class, they're now going to be barely in the middle class.
Barely,
In other words, right, and they're not going to have disposable income to buy a house, to send children overseas to study, to buy a car, and they're going to find that it's just going to be getting by. They're going to be paying a mortgage and keeping a car longer. They're going to be driving an old car. And they're going to be middle class, but not having disposable.
Not having in name only. And I mean, you talk about the middle class. So we could break that down. I know you do a lot with small, with entrepreneurship and small businesses. You know, I hate to say them small business, call them small businesses, but you know, so we're talking here not just we're not asking for this or just relief for the consumers, but we're talking about businesses or small business or farmers. We're talking about the tractors, you know, transport operators. What about the fishermen? And I was talking to somebody, some of the fishermen, and they pointed that out to me as well, Mr. Phillips, that they were paying fuel tax. You know, it seems to me that, Mr. Phillips, that the government is seeking to preserve the revenue that they're receiving from this particular tax. That they're going to blame everybody else. They're going to call on Massey to, you know, reduce the prices, but not the government to, you know, lower the excise fuel tax.
I have to remind the government that government is not the backbone of this economy. The backbone of this economy is the thousands of small and medium-sized enterprises that employ people. And if government continues to increase the cost of energy, it means that the electricity is going to go up. All of the commodities in every sector is going to go up. And that is going to wipe out the middle class, and it is going to drive businesses into exile, if you want to put it like that.
Yeah.
Government must do more. And it isn't like they cannot do more. They cannot use the war in Iran as an excuse. Government has to plan. And right now, they are running us in trouble because they are borrowing too much money. For example, for every $100 that we earn, government pay $94.60 in servicing debt. $94.60. In other words, we only got $5.40 to service our roads, to pay our teachers, our policemen, to run the hospital. And the government is not coming and telling the people the truth. Barbados is up to the eyeballs in debt. Let me repeat it, Barbadians. 94.6% of our earnings go in servicing debt. For every $100 we make in Barbados, we are paying $94.60 in servicing the debt, and we only got $5.40. That's what you getting paid when the week come.
Yes.
$100, and when you finish, you only got $5 to spend. Then you got to go and borrow money to get work again, and that's why we are borrowing and borrowing and borrowing, because we are borrowing to pay off debt. And when we get money, then we borrow again. So we pay off this debt, and then we borrow for a longer term to pay off the debt that we just borrowed for, and we are kicking the can down the road. And that is why they can't do things that they're supposed to do, because the cost of energy should not be so high. But rather than come out and tell the people the truth, that they're borrowing too much money, and to service this debt, they got tax the hair of your head. They will try to blame it on the war in Iran. You will always have external factors. Government must manage the economy properly. They're not. They're not coming and speaking the truth to the people.
But so I want to know. Let's go back to the middle class, because sometimes when we talk about these things, it go over people's heads. Somebody was even saying we should have had, you know, some like some slides or something, and we'll work on that. We'll work on that, Bureau. You're right, because I think what they're aiming for, Jason.
They want a visual. They want to see what we're talking about. That's
yeah,
good.
they want to be able to see it, and they want to understand it. So let's break it down again for the middle class. Why should they be concerned? And define what are the concerns? What should be the concerns of the middle class, Jason?
Inflation. Inflation means that the cost of things are climbing faster than the income that you get. So as prices outpace income growth, many households are finding it hard to save money. So in other words, you could imagine at one time getting paid $4,000 a month. You could pay a mortgage. You could own a car.
Yeah.
You could have 2 children. And that's on one salary. And usually it's the man who was making that money and the woman will stay at home and clean the house and cook the food and look after the children. Right? No. You got a man and a woman living in a house together, making $4,000 a piece. And they find it hard to pay the mortgage, pay for the car, put diesel in gasoline in the car, pay the utility bills and the light bill, the water bill, buy groceries and support the children. They cannot even go on a summer vacation overseas abroad. So $4,000 incomes ain't cutting it no more. Anybody making less than $5,000 a month feeling the pinch. So inflation is where the cost outpaces the amount of earnings you're getting, and you cannot. So, for example, right now a chicken costs $30. I saw a chicken yesterday in the supermarket for $36.
Wow.
And maybe 2 years ago, you could get chicken for $18, $20.
Yes, probably
right?
20. A small one, yeah.
Yeah, $18 or $20. I could get chicken for $18 or $20. Now you got chicken at $30, $36. You got a rice. Okay, what? Government must find a way, and don't let me get started. Even though people, the inflation is high because the cost of living in Barbados is too high, government find it fit to bring in migrant labor. So rather than dealing with your own people first, you're providing work for, and that's another discussion for another night.
Yeah.
But Barbadians are not sleeping. You cannot be bringing labor and giving people that are not Barbadians work and Barbadians who are here smelling hell to get a good paying job.
Yeah, and to add to what you're saying in terms of the middle class, folks, I want to further break it down. Think about just at the pump, period, how you fill up your vehicle. Those of you who drive, just think about that. This is how it's going to affect the middle class. Getting to work. Most people, you don't drive, but you commute. You have to take the children to school. Run errands. You're caring for your elderly patients, whatever, parents. I'm sorry. What about food prices? That Jason was farming. We mentioned that fishing. All of these things. The small businesses, the tradespeople, all of these things in all of these areas, and we have to be able to understand. We have to take it from up here and begin to understand how it is affecting us, the middle class. And that's why some people they're saying, the middle class, they're about to wipe them up. But Jason, what should the government do to ease the burden on Barbadians? Should it be decrease in VAT? Should it be the fuel tax? Should it be a decrease in income tax? What do you think?
It's not a decrease in income tax. Income tax is what you get paid. But sorry, you're correct.
To lower income taxes.
Yes, they can lower income tax.
And the rate.
Yes, sorry, I thought you said income. Yes, definitely government should reduce income tax. With a reduction in income tax, you got more spending power. So you can generate spending in the economy. That means small and medium-sized enterprises can begin to flourish. Government should also responsibly reduce the VAT. You don't have to reduce it by a base set at once. As I said, you could go back to the 15%, see how that is working out. If government can manage it, then we leave it there for a year or so. And if you can ease it down a little bit more, because ideally, I feel that VAT should be no more than 10%. Because as it stands now, 17.5% is mighty close to 20%. So for every dollar you pay almost 20 cents in every dollar So that's $17.50. That's a lot of money. Okay, each $100. Government definitely has to reduce the fuel excess tax. They got a big enough net that they can reduce the fuel tax. They have no excuse. It has nothing at all to do with the war in Iran, between Iran and America. If you look around in the Caribbean, Barbados is paying too much money for energy.
Yeah.
And on a comparative basis, government is making a wash of money in taxes when it comes to fuel. I believe that government should do one and tell the Prime Minister this: reduce the excise, the fuel tax, reduce the VAT, and reduce the income tax. That will give people more spending power, and it will cause people to spend more. We have an issue. I spoke to this last time I was on air. People are not getting children because people do not have money to feed or support the children. And if you want people to get more children, you have to put more money in their pockets. Some people might say there's no more middle class. People in the middle class will be like doctors, lawyers. The lower middle class will be teachers, and so on. But a lot of those people are feeling the pinch. Some of us might be considered as the working poor. But if government continue on this trajectory, continue to go in this direction they're going in a very short space of time, we're not going to have a middle class. We're going to be like some of the other Caribbean islands. It is the middle class. And the problem with being called middle class, I can repeat myself, I said it earlier, you're not going to qualify. You can be in that bracket of earning that you can't get assistance from government. But because government increasing taxation and because the prices of commodities are increasing, you can find that yourself, you ain't getting the help from government and you got to pay for everything. So therefore, your spending power is becoming less and less and less. And the money, the $4,000 or the $5,000 you were getting paid a month can only do so much. It sounds like a lot, but because of the inflation, it's not going to do very much.
Yeah. And when you think of how much fuel, I love the way that you broke it down. Every time that you go to the pump, you are paying. The government is getting their piece out of that. And as much as the Prime Minister, is making she's making these announcements and asking the private sector needs to do this, the private sector needs to do that. We are sitting and we are waiting to hear what is the government going to do, right, Jason? Because a driver, if you do 50 liters of gas each week, a lot of people do more than that, right? Over a month, think about how much liters of gas that you use for the month. And each time that you use the gas, right? It's taxed. So you could tell me, she could tell us with her mouth that she cares. But the point is this, as you said, we want to see how you are managing. It's like a mother or a father, a parents in a home, and like what's happening now. And you have to sit down and you have to budget and you have to work it out so that the children, they're not feeling the pinch. So, they can still get their snacks. You might have to do something a little differently. We want to know, what is the government doing differently, right, Jason? Is that what you're saying?
I tell them start using external factors as an excuse. There will always be instances abroad that will affect the world. All of the countries in the world will be affected by the war in Ukraine. All of the countries in the world will be affected by the war between the USA and Iran in the Strait of Hormuz. But government has a responsibility to develop policy to manage this economy properly. And I'm saying to the Barbados Labour Party-led government, reduce the VAT, reduce the fuel excess tax, reduce income tax. But when you reduce these things, you will reduce the cost of energy, you will reduce the cost of doing business in Barbados. People will have more spending power, and people will buy more things, and businesses will flourish. As it stands, get out of the business of telling private enterprises how much money they can make when the year comes, because this is still a democracy. We still practice capitalism in Barbados. We are not a communist country where a government tells the owners of private enterprises how much money they can or cannot make. Why don't she go and tell the banks that they need to reduce the hundreds of millions of dollars they make every year in fees? And she can start telling all of the prime minister can start telling all the other enterprises across Barbados. You have to be careful, you know, when you have private investors, because Marcia is not a Barbadian company, when they realize that they are coming here to do business and the government is not kind to them, those people just uproot and leave.
Or interfering. Interfering.
You know how many people, Barbadians, then will be on the bread line? I remember that I had a jewelry store on Broad Street, and the union was marching, and that jewelry store is no longer there. You have to be careful how you treat foreign investors, because you know they don't have to be here. They can take their business somewhere else, and then you'll have 300 or 400 people on the breadline, and that 300 or 400 people, they might got 2 children. They might be the only breadwinner in the house, and then all of a sudden you got 1,000 people struggling.
Yes, yeah. You know, I have a question there, and we have another 5 minutes. Have you changed? Asking the viewers, have you changed your driving habits because of fuel prices? So that's a question. I'm watching the comment section, asking the viewers, because we really want to get it home to them. And you know, what other changes have you made? Changes? You know, you're on the road with people there, Jason. What are you hearing on the road? The prices of the food items?
The fact of the matter is, to answer that question, there's not much you can do. You have to drive work. So if you live in Spikestown, you're going to work in Bridgetown, you have to drive to Bridgetown, and you have to drive back home. And because the roads have so many potholes in them, they can be there idling with gas, right? There isn't much you can do unless you can put down your vehicle and catch your bus. It is for government to do something, reduce the tax on the fuel excess tax. So why don't Mia reduce the?
Okay, so
I will frame like that. Yes, the soy starch. We in St. Peter, especially people living in Bosquebella in the ground, they are not connected to the sewage, and that sewage, to me, that tax is really to ease the burden on the hotels and restaurants on the South Coast and the West Coast, right? Because when you can charge someone in St. Lucie and in St. Peter, so it starts. To me, it's an unfair tax, because if you're not connected to the sewer, then why pay a tax for something you're not getting? In fact, we can't even use the water in St. Peter and St. Lucie. Parts of St. Peter and parts of St. Lucie.
And you're still paying that tax. I'm trying to get some of the other comments before you go, as you we just have a few more minutes to go. But I'm thinking, Mr. Phillips, of the crop over season. You will see people with their stall, because I know you speak on behalf of entrepreneurs, and they are selling their food. And as soon as I heard this, honestly, they were the first people who came to mind. How are they going to manage? It means that they're going to, when you go to buy your food at crop over, your pigtail or your chips or whatever you're buying, the price of that is going to increase, because they have to buy that bottle of gas. They are now spending more money to buy the bottle of gas. and more money to transport it, because most times they have to get, they have to go collect it. So you're more on transportation. They're spending more money at the wholesale to buy the food to sell, more gas to cook it. So obviously that is going to be passed on to the crop over consumers, those who go to the events. Any thoughts on that, Jason, before we move on?
In order, I believe that we use the crop over, but not only crop over, this is going to spread throughout the island. In order to pay the bottom line, you can find small and medium-sized businesses increasing this, because it's no way that government can increase the cost of a 100-pound cylinder of liquefied petroleum gas by $22 and change, and the people in oil stations selling food don't increase the price of the food in oil stations, or in St. James, or in St. Smith's Village and St. Peter. Not only a crop over things in, but let me tell you something. This is an indicator that the economy is under pressure.
Yes.
Government is not coming out and saying anything. Why would you increase the cost of energy in Barbados in a 2-week span twice? Unless you are finding it hard to raise revenue. And why are you finding it hard to raise revenue when you have borrowed billions of dollars? This government has borrowed, this Montley administration has borrowed the most money in the history of Barbados, and I dare say in the history of the English-speaking CARICOM islands. No other country that I know of have borrowed so much money. I don't know how we're going to repay this money. And the hurtful thing about it is that when the Prime Minister leaves office in the next election, she don't have to worry about repaying this money now. That's the hurtful thing. They are just going on a borrowing spree. We cannot see value for money. They borrow money to fix the roads and all kind of thing, and I cannot see value for money on one road here and there. But I am not seeing true value for money, and the cost of living in Barbados is too high because Barbadians are overtaxed. Government, I can reiterate what I said, they have to reduce the fuel tax, they must reduce the VAT, and they must they must reduce income tax. If you increase wages like they did recently and then increase the cost of living, they have done nothing. They're spending tot in mud.
Yeah. Well, Mr. Fuel, Mr. Fuel, Mr. Fuel, you're right. Mr. Phillips, thank you so much for joining us tonight, and for us having this very sobering conversation. And we always look forward to your segments, and we look forward to you next week. All right.
So I know tonight was a little bit more serious, but sometimes we have to look at the serious issues too. The cost of living in Barbados is way too high.
I mean, we're serious. I'm going into another serious issue now at the hospital. So we always have to look into serious matters. Thank you so much, Mr. Phillips.
Thanks, and good night to the good people of St. Peter and Barbados. Good night.
Yes, God bless. Bye-bye. Wow, folks, serious issues tonight. Miss McCLEAN, I'm hoping that she will join us after we deal with the hospital, because this I've got to get this out tonight. This is very, very important. It impacts all of us. I have a graphic there, and I want to put up that graphic on the topic that I'm going to talk about, because I know that, for some people, they say, oh, it's too dramatic. Yes, it is that dramatic. It has to be that dramatic. Yes, it has to be that dramatic, because we need to understand that we're talking here about healthcare, right? We're talking about our health as Barbadians. And so I really do think that it's something that we really need to take it very, very seriously. Can you, before I start this segment, can you take some time to just share to like and to share. Very important that we do this. Very important. You're watching on Facebook. We are very, very grateful for you joining us tonight. Those on YouTube, very grateful as well. But we're going to kindly ask you to take a moment and to share. Take a moment and share, because what we're going to talk about tonight greatly impacts all of us. Okay? All of us. So I'm going to ask you, take a moment. Don't just, say, okay, well, you're ready to, let's talk about it. Dave, let's see here. I'm going to give you a half a minute to share. Did you put it in your WhatsApp groups yet? WhatsApp groups. Folks, I'm calling this tonight an investigative public interest presentation, because this has to just be part one. This is so concerning, and I want us to treat it accordingly. Put the attention to it. We're talking about the most vulnerable people in our country, the elderly. When I'm finished, you're going to see why I say this. We might just need to march on this. We're talking about elderly Barbadians who are no longer able to care fully for themselves and who depend on the state for food, or elderly at the district hospitals who depend on the state for sanitation, for medication, nursing care, just dignity, human dignity as they grow older. This segment tonight concerns the district hospitals, and specifically tonight, Becker's Road, St. Michael. Some of what I'm going to present to you tonight, several parts of it come from current healthcare workers in the system, those in the district hospital, those at QEH, and those who are former healthcare workers who have knowledge of the conditions at this particular institutions. These are serious allegations. Now, we could not independently verify every claim. So we are inviting the Ministry of Health and Wellness and those who manage the geriatric hospitals, or especially Becker's Road, to respond. The allegations are too grave to ignore. They concern food, sanitation, rats, infectious diseases, staffing, electrical safety. We're talking about the treatment of, for Becker's Road, approximately 300 elderly and dependent Barbadians. Do you think that our elderly should be getting breakfast at midday. There are 102. My investigation reveals there are people there over 100 years old. Do you know that it is being alleged that these elderly folks are getting breakfast at midday? I want you to pause. I want you to think about that. You might not be at the geriatric at any of these district hospitals, and you might know exactly what's going to happen to you when you get older. But there are approximately 300 patients at Beckles Road right now. Breakfast at midday up to today. I'm going to read for you at the end what came into me while I am on the show tonight. The staff members allege that there have been occasions when breakfast was not served until approximately 12 noon. Elderly patients, some of whom may be diabetic, frail, medicated, or unable to communicate clearly, they wait until midday for breakfast. We're told that for a couple of weeks now, there have been shortages of basic items such as milk, sugar, and biscuits. I saw a message where people were, one worker was saying to the next one, when you go to, I think it's Popular, try to get some milk and sugar to bring for the elderly. This is going on for several weeks. This is a country that has borrowed so much money, have spent money to spend money like water. We just had a carry fest to 800% over budget. They speak in millions. And you have the elderly like this. Lunch arrived late as well. I'm being told that even today they didn't get lunch till after 6. 4, 5, or even later in the afternoon. You think that this is right? These are not luxury. This is not luxury. We're not talking about having the elderly live in luxury. This is basic nutrition, don't you think? In a public institution that's responsible for elderly people. Lisa Cummins, Minister of Health and Wellness. At what time is breakfast supposed to be served in the district hospitals? How frequently has breakfast been delayed, Madam Minister? Have there been shortages of milk, sugar, bread, biscuits, or other essential food supplies? Minister Lisa Cummins, who is responsible for ensuring that the meals are prepared and delivered on time? And most importantly, are patients receiving the nutrition required for their age, the illness that they have, and their medication schedules? Barbados, are we going to have to march on behalf of the elderly? Dirty dishes left overnight in the sink at the geriatric hospital. So the reports we're receiving tonight, viewers, is that there's inadequate kitchen and domestic staff. And according to what we're hearing from very good source, the domestic workers finish their shifts in the evening and they do not have kitchen maids, or you want to call them helpers. That's the word they use. So I hate the word maids, but that's what that's how it was related to me. There are no kitchen maids assigned to wash the patient's dishes after they have supper because the domestic workers finish their shifts. So as a result, you know what happened? The cups and the plates and the spoons and the food residue that remain in the kitchen overnight until the morning staff arrive. Sometimes the nurses assist by washing the dishes themselves. But because of how the nurses have been treated, some of them have taken the position now that they're no longer going to be performing those duties outside of their nursing responsibilities because they have very heavy patient loads. So you know what happens? This is creating an important issue. Because what we expect the nurses to work as nurses, kitchen workers, cleaners, laundry workers, and attendants, and also sending to buy milk and sugar and bread and biscuit for the elderly. Do you think that dirty utensils should be left overnight in an institution that is housing hundreds of vulnerable people? Who is responsible? Now, when you leave dirty dishes in the sink, that's why at home you have children, you would say, tell them, don't leave anything, dirty dishes in the sink. Don't leave the kitchen dirty. You try your best. Sometimes you come home tired, but you do try your best not to leave dirty dishes in the sink. Especially you have 300 elderly patients. That's basic, eh? It's a basic function of washing the dishes. And that must be left to the overburdened nurses. Now, that leads us to the allegation of rats. This is perhaps, I would say, one of the most disturbing allegations. Is that the rats are being seen throughout parts of the hospital. They're near the wards, the nurses' stations. They run across the nurses' stations, in the kitchenette where the food is distributed. So we're asking Lisa Cummins, the Ministry of Health and Wellness, when was the institution last professionally inspected for rodents? Do you have an active pest control contract for the district hospitals? This is not the first we're hearing about this issue. How often is baiting or extermination conducted? Staff, have you filed any written reports concerning the rats? Did you have any corrective response or action? Follow those reports? We're calling on the Environmental Health Department to conduct an inspection of Becker's Road compound. Our elderly, 300 elderly people are up there. We need the Environmental Health Department to conduct unannounced inspection there, please, and release the inspection reports to the public. We're hearing there's a scabies, issues of scabies again. Please don't call now. If you're calling the show now, I would not be able to take the call now, okay? Please, we're going to take the calls after 9, all right? Please don't call now. This is very important that we get this information out. Scabies. These concerns about scabies cannot be dismissed, you know. Remember, we're talking about 300 elderly patients. In June 2025, the Ministry of Health and Wellness confirmed, that was almost a year ago, that patients at the same Beckles Road had been diagnosed with scabies. You remember that? Tonight, the workers are alleging that scabies has returned or remains a problem within the institution. Is that true? We need a report. The Minister of Health and Wellness need to speak to this nation about our elderly. They are those that are in your care, madam. This needs an immediate and transparent response. The workers, some workers are alleging that the staff were not formally and promptly informed about those possible cases. Are there currently confirmed or suspected cases of scabies at the geriatric hospital in Beckles Road? If so, how many patients or staff members have been affected? Have all the patients, employees, and close contacts been properly assessed? What about treatment? Has appropriate treatment been provided for everybody? What about clothing and the sheets and mattresses and other materials? Are they being disinfected properly? The last time a whistleblowers had to say that there were scabies there before the government said there was an issue of scabies. So, which leads me to the laundry problem. The laundry problem. Guys, are you sharing up the live? I need you to share up this live tonight, folks. The laundry problem. The staff are also raising serious concerns about laundry. Laundry. A basic thing like laundry. Apparently, viewers, the industrial laundry equipment at the geriatric hospital has not been functioning properly for a while. And so they have to transport the clothing and the linen. They have to be transported elsewhere for washing and even for drying. So you have soiled laundry up from the elderly. Sometimes they are on the wards they're on the wards for extended periods of time because there's no worker or transportation not available, like no diesel to put in the van. No diesel. So what about the patient that need frequent changing of clothes, sheets, and protective bedding? What about them? You're going to have the soiled laundry accumulating in bathrooms and corridors and ward areas. What I'm told is that sometimes the odor that comes out of that, it's going to produce an odor and it's going to attract pests. Again, no wonder they found scabies there last year. And now there's allegation that their scabies there again, because it's going to increase infection risks. It is overall an unacceptable environment for everybody, both the patients and the staff. And so we're asking the ministry, is the industrial washing of or drying equipment at Becker's Road currently functioning? You would ever believe, anybody here would ever believe that the washing machine at Becker's Road is not functioning? When you see how this government spends money, you would think, you would imagine that could ever be. How long has it been out of service? How frequently is the laundry collected? Why would diesel, why would the van that needs to pick up the laundry to take it to another district hospital for it to be washed and dried, why would there not be diesel in the van? If you're a hospital caring for hundreds of elderly people, come on, you must have at least have a dependable laundry system. What we are talking about tonight is basic things, nothing fancy, you know. But let's look at water and electrical safety. This allegation is especially alarming. I am being told that water enters sections of that facility during periods of heavy rain. And with the water coming in, sometimes it comes through or it comes near electrical fixtures and switches. Do you know that some of the workers are afraid of turning on certain particular lights because they fear electrocution? If this is true, folks, this is a serious hazard. Any report of water interacting with electrical infrastructure in this hospital requires urgent inspection. Not next month, not another meeting, immediately. Where's the Barbados Fire Service? Have you inspected that premise, those premises? Where's the certified electrical engineer? We need one to go. They need to go and organize this. The ministry need to look into this. And I want to ask the staff, have you done a written report on this? This is very, very serious. If there's a fire, the patients who cannot move themselves, how will they escape the fire? You see, and that's why you don't want anything like that to happen, because if they can't move themselves, they cannot escape a fire or any electrical emergency. I'm being told that sometimes you have one nurse to 17 or 18 patients. These are the same nurses that they expect to go and wash the dishes. The patients, they need dressing, they need bathing, they need feeding, they need changing. Sometimes you have to turn them to prevent injuries. They need monitoring. They need emergency intervention. there seemed to be a collapse in staff morale. What I'm hearing, because of just the environment and how the workers are treated, a lot of them are saying, I will do exactly what I'm paid to do, nothing more. And you know, sometimes we see these workers and we see them, they seem angry and they seem upset and they seem, you know, but we don't understand the working conditions. If you are working somewhere and the stench of the bedding and the clothes in the corridor is hitting you for the hours that you are there, you're not going to, you're going to want to stay an extra 30 minutes or an extra, you want to get out of there as fast as possible. So when a worker says, I will do exactly what I'm paid to do and nothing more, something like that should concern all of us. It doesn't necessarily mean that the workers don't care about the patients. All you've got to do is to put yourself in the worker's position. It could be that they're exhausted, that they're ignored. It could be that they're mistreated or they're not supported. What about these allegations of poor communication with the workers, with the staff, victimization? I get that all the time. Punitive transfers. We were dealing with that. All those at St. Philip who, you know, the nurses there who complained they were transferred. So the morale falls, and therefore performance more than likely suffer. And what happens when that happens in a geriatric hospital? The helpless elderly patients pay the price. Now, we know that there should be a new Waterford hospital. What is the update on that? They've been constructing this new geriatric hospital at Waterford St. Michael. They said that in May, the Minister of Health said that the facility was expected to be open in June. It's July. That proposed opening period has now passed. Lisa Cummins, have you come back to the public? We need a precise date. We need an update. Is it complete? Has it received all of the necessary building, fire, electrical, and all of the approvals, the health approvals? I'm asking some questions, but because I've heard some things, I'm going to just ask them as a question. So this new facility, what about the kitchen? Is it fully equipped? Is the kitchen fully equipped? Can you tell us why we pass and we see this beautiful building there at Waterford, but nobody is inside there? Is the laundry operational up there? What about the wards? Are they furnished? Because we're hearing some things about that facility. Is there an issue with water and the fact, you know, how it's built? We're going to get into that another time, because I remember on the show, Caswell, we spent days and weeks talking about why it was wrong to build the hospital there. So the question is, what is the holdup? Is there a sewage issue there? at the new geriatric hospital in Waterford? Are you experiencing potential a sewage issue? Why the place isn't open? It's a question for you. Can you tell the people? It's our money. You keep changing ministers. It's BLP government. You keep changing minister. Minister, you change. That's not how it's not going to work by merely trying to change a minister. But it's all of the accountability. What are we doing in terms of accountability? When those ministers go in, who is going to monitor? Who is going to investigate? Who received the complaints? We have to look at the entire system. How are complaints received? Are you going to victimize people who make complaints? Who investigates? Let's look at the system. When there's a complaint and, okay, you're going to correct the work, who checks whether the corrective work is completed? What about the meals? We're talking about this on the show tonight. Who is going to go? Are you going to send people to Beckles Road to monitor the meals? What about the sanitation of our district hospitals? You keep changing ministers, but what about staffing levels? It is the system, the kitchens. What about the laundry? Why don't we have an industrial, washing machine? It's crazy. Are we talking about punching above our weight? And this prime minister talking about who owes trillions of dollars? And just traveling, they travel with. Listen, these people, they just get me sick. Everybody, you're carrying titles, but you can't, but who carrying the responsibility? So what are we requesting tonight? We are calling on the Minister of Health and Wellness to conduct. We need you to conduct an independent inspection of the geriatric hospital at Beckles Road and all of the other district hospitals. And we want the report published. And the report, the inspection that you're doing should cover food availability, the meal delivery times. We want the report to tell us about kitchen cleanliness and staffing. What about the rodent and pest control? We want that to be in the report too. The investigation needs to cover that. The independent investigation, the scabies and other infectious conditions, the laundry equipment and the linen supplies. We want to hear about that. The water that is coming in and causing electrical unsafety or electrical safety issues. The nursing and the ancillary staffing. The medication, dressing, and continence care. We want an independent investigation and a report on staff complaints and morale. We want to know about the Waterford facility. We We don't want you to just call a press conference or send out somebody who is supposed to be the public relations officer. We want to hear the findings. We're hearing that they go down, when they go there, everybody dressed to the nines, the minister in her high shoes, and she just walk past. They go into the office. They don't even look inside. There's no inspection of the wards. Go and have a talk with the workers, with the nurses assistants, the domestic workers. Have a talk with the kitchen staff. Speak with the relatives. What about the patients who can communicate? If you're very serious about this issue, that's the kind of work that is necessary. Review, already they might have their meal logs. Look at that. In closing, and thank you for bearing with me. I know it's a long one, but it's heavy on my heart, guys. Let me just remind us all of us, myself, Marcia included, all of us listening tonight, that these patients, these elderly patients, are not objects being stored in a government building. They're not objects being stored in a government building. They're human beings. They are mothers. We have fathers, grandparents, retired workers. Some retired teachers that taught you. People who built Barbados. Many of them can't speak publicly. They can't leave. They can't call a radio program. They can't photograph the conditions around them, because some of them can't even feed or bathe or turn themselves without assistance. How a country treats those who no longer advocate for themselves tell us what the country truly values. I'm not here trying to create panic. And I'm not trying to score points. This is very important. Are the elderly Barbadians, are they being fed on time? Are they housed safely? Are they protected from disease? Are they cared for with dignity? I believe the Ministry of Health and Wellness has a duty to answer. And I am proposing, if they do not answer us, to hit the streets on behalf of the elderly. I am tired of hearing these reports. Management has a duty to answer. The public has a right to know who is protecting the elderly patients at the geriatric hospital. Will you? They can't wait for another announcement. They can't wait for another reshuffle. And they cannot wait indefinitely for a new building. Our elderly, they need safe and dignified care right now. Miss McCLEAN is listening. I'm going to ask her to join us if she's able to. I know this is yes, it's very sad, Vihoy. I it really had me today, and I thought about my you know, what's going to happen to me after a certain age. You know, you mean you pay your taxes, you live well, you contribute to a society, and then this is what happens. It is sad. Things are falling apart, Bihoy. Somebody, Akila, saying the psychiatric hospital. Yeah, it's a whole healthcare system. We're going to continue this another night. This is so much that I couldn't do everything. But I see Dave has something there. You know, we are tired of these people dressing up and talking up in their noses. We are sick and tired of it. June opening, June is gone. And while I was on the show, I don't know, while I was on the show, I'm just trying to say, Dave, can you see if Miss McCLEAN wants to join? But the phone line is open. While I was on, this is what came to my phone. And those of you, you know me. I don't need to make up anything to come on here. There's so many other things that we wanted to discuss, and I changed it because this is too serious. But let me just tell you something. No milk or sugar. This is what's in my phone right now. They are messaging me. No milk or sugar to put in the patient's tea. They're putting bay leaf and Milo in hot water and giving the patients with no milk. Nothing. They did not get any supper today. The elderly patients. My God. They did not get any supper today. Why should they suffer? The elderly patients did not get any supper today. Only a pot of porridge at 6:45 this evening. The kitchen staff are on sick out. The nurses are tired reporting to the sisters and the senior sisters. Nothing is being done. Please let them know up to now, no supper at 8:58 p.m. 8:58 p.m. No supper. Patients are hungry. Yeah, the messages are coming in. I can't even listen to this voice note. I'll have to let Dave listen to it because I don't want you to hear the voice of the person. No cooks at geriatric, and the nursing administration are in the kitchen trying to cook so the patients can at least get one meal. I can't even listen to this voice note because if I do, I would have to leave the program, listen to it, because I want to protect the people that have that are speaking to me. There is a caller. Let me this call. Good night, caller.
Hold on. Kitchen staff are on sick out. The nurses are tired reporting to the sisters and the senior sisters.
Okay, so you have to turn off the
Good night, Marcia.
Yes, good night, caller.
Yeah, I want to talk about other things too. I want to tell you about you talking about the district and the hospital, because I want to tell you I want to talk about the prison, right? And the lady that belongs to the point, right? And the crime too that happened. But what you are saying about the hospital in Barbados, right? The same thing is happening at the psychiatric hospital.
It's happening at the psychiatric hospital, you're saying?
Yeah, because I was a patient in there. I was a patient, but patients to come all on 10 o'clock after 10. Food to come at 2 o'clock. Right? And the staff to come at 6 o'clock. Right? And I know I was seeing something on YouTube about the nurses complain about the patient at the second hospital, how they get treated. They was talking about it on YouTube, near departure.
Yeah, because a lot of people, because she's outside of Barbados, and a lot of people, they don't want to be victimized, and so they call her, and that's why I say to people, I'm not going to knock her because she's doing a service to Barbados. I said it.
Listen to me, Marcia, right? Listen to me, Marcia, right? Remember, I tell you, right now, there's got so much things happening about here right now, right? And I think that you should keep a walk about this Saturday.
Yeah, this Saturday would be too.
Don't say next week.
Yeah, this Saturday would be a bit sudden.
Keep a walk this Saturday. Don't wait till something happens, because you talk about the hospital in St. Philip, right? I see it happen at all the hospitals. At all the hospitals. Patients that imagine do not get treated properly. I was in there one day and I see a nurse hit a patient in his face on a ward. I see that myself. I was on a ward and I see a nurse hit a patient in his face. I see that myself. When he get put on the table, I kick the patient out in his face.
Well,
so you don't get treated better in this hospital, right? And the food in there don't got no sugar, it be watery, right?
Well, you probably don't need a whole lot of sugar, but at least they need to make sure that the food for the elderly comes on time. These are people who can't stand up for themselves, and so I will go and march for this. I will march for it.
Well, I feel that you should go on Saturday. This Saturday, don't even wait. Don't even wait this Saturday. I was waiting to call in. Or somebody told me it's happening at the hospital. I tell you it's happening at the hospital. And I feel it's still happening at the hospital all by now. Because a lot of patients in there, right? Even on the female section, a lot of them got cancer. A lot of them, they got cancer now. I tell you.
Yeah.
I know tonight you are passionate about this here tonight. Or you start talking about this here at 8:30. I know you're very passionate about this here tonight.
Yeah, this is a very serious issue, and a very, very serious issue. I'm not.
I'm begging you, come on. Let the people come out this Saturday and start walking.
Well, let's hear because you and I might think so, and let's hear them. Will the people, do they want to come out? So caller, I will say let's leave the line open for some other callers, but I appreciate you calling in and verifying some of what we're saying, and saying that it happened as well in Black Rock.
Okay, and then I will talk about the prison and the crime and the lady and the MP the pine.
For the pine, okay. So we want to do that tomorrow then?
Okay, we can do that. Okay.
Yeah, and let's stay on the hospital. Let's just stay on the hospital right now, right?
Okay, then, okay, yeah.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. Thanks for calling and thanks for your patience in that you've been calling a long time. Thank you.
Okay.
And no up to now, no supper.
Okay, so right. So I don't even know what to say right now. I'm obviously I'm definitely affected by this, to the point where I went in today. I went to my son. Dave doesn't even know this one, and I said, Josh, whatever happens to us when we get older, do not put us in anything like that. I told him. And some of you are not connecting to what is happening because you have elderly people around you and you're not treating them well either. That's why some of you are not connecting. Some of you are not connecting to this story because we have lost compassion and we have lost heart and we've lost care. Some of us, we've lost all of that. And it's the same people that are in government, you see. It's so the nation is going. We've lost that compassion. Well, the line is open, and I also see Miss McCLEAN here. So you're free to call in, and I'm sure she'll have a comment. And just let me take a pause because this is really too much for me. Good night, Miss McCLEAN.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I'm hearing. Yes, I'm hearing you.
I don't know what happened because the computer was saying that they could hear me just now. I could not get on using the same information that you posted. So maybe we have some gremlins playing some games because it doesn't make sense sometimes. But I want to say, Marcia, that as I listen to you about the geriatric hospital, and you go back to the discussions we've had even very recently about the QEH.
Yes, ma'am.
And then we think about the schools. Something is very wrong with how this government has been running this country for the past 8 years. And I say that people will want to say, oh, she's a politician from a previous administration, all of that. But why is it that basic things, you mentioned scabies, and I was about to go to look to see the incidence of that. You remember recently they've been talking about the hantavirus, another disease that is carried by rats. And when you hear certain promotions, it tells you something is triggering that, something is happening to have the Ministry of Health or whatever it is speak to these things. And you're going to tell me that this is a country that's walking, and I say it all the time, and I will not stop saying it, because the Prime Minister of Barbados is, for the most part, the voice of her government. A lot of other voices seem to be stilled, or they have to get permission or something. But here we are spending a lot of money. You know what it reminds me of? And I will use one of the countries where the Prime Minister has a lot of friends of influence, Nigeria. You talk to people and they tell you, if you want to see life on the fast and fancy lane, go to Abuja, the capital. And you see the private jets and the expensive house, Banana Island, if you go outside of Abuja, and you see people with expensive cars, but teachers, police officers, not being paid for months. And here we have a situation where we say that we treasure our elderly, and you're going to find that you can't get clean laundry. That's something as basic as an industrial washing machine, some of which approximate that heavy duty machines people have in their homes, and you are going to take laundry and send it somewhere else. We know how often So they send it to another district hospital. Now, I would say, for want of a better word, the one on Bay Street is the main one, probably the largest one. And you're going to be taking that. We have the same thing at the hospital where you hear that the laundry isn't working. The equipment to sterilize, the machinery to sterilize surgical instruments and so on, not working, and they have to send it to a private hospital. That was the kind of thing that I was hearing, and I repeated, I've said it here before, as a moderator on Brass Tacks, and tell it like it is back in 2001, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, coming down to early 2007 when I stopped. And I thought that we had overcome that. And this government has more money at its disposal than anybody else. They brag about all the foreign exchange. So isn't that they can't import a machine? Because we don't make them in Barbados. Those are fundamental things. You were talking about linens and so on. I would love to know what is the incidence of bed sores in the same hospital or any other geriatric hospital and the QEH at this point in time, because I can tell you, I have had some horror stories of people. And on the other hand, I can also tell you that I knew a lady who worked for me, lived in an extremely modest house, a house that needed significant repair. And until their death, she looked after both her parents, and neither one ever had a bed sore. And she was working as a maid, not for one person, but probably for 2 or 3 people, because she would do like a couple days with me and a couple days with somebody else, etc. But she still could find the time to do that and make sure that her parents did not get bed sores. So when I listened to you, it hurt my heart. I sat at church this morning next to a 100-year-old lady, Barbados' most recent centenarian. God bless her soul. Her mind is better than mine. Her memory is better than mine. And she lives at her home. But I think when I see her, these are our precious. These are the people who built this country. And I have to say this. You have mentioned the number of ministers of health, but you didn't only mention, you mentioned those, but unlike 2008 to 2018, you have in almost every ministry 2 and 3 people at the policy level, either ministers of state, parliamentary secretaries, or whatever they name them, senior ministers, this and that, spending a lot of money, talking up a storm. And I've said it before, and I will say it again, and I will tell her to her face. Minister Lisa Cummins, you talk pretty. As a young woman who I encountered in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, I was impressed with what I thought was your intellect. But you know what? I'm disappointed in you. Because these are the kinds of things we should not be hearing about. The fundamentals are, to my mind, what indicates whether you're doing a good job. Not talking pretty in Parliament, in the Senate, or going to some conference somewhere, maybe in Geneva to the World Health Organization, and sounding impressive. We know that you're an intelligent person and you articulate, but translate that into walking around and seeing what has to be done and getting it done. Our old people suffered enough. Their final days should not be ones in which they have to live in smelly conditions and having nurses who can't function because they themselves suffocating under the stench. That's not good enough. And then people will want to come and tell you, Marcia, that this show does exaggerates things. It does not. It brings things to the fore, and it gets things done, even to get the Prime Minister to wear the national flag on her lapel. Your volume, Marcia. You have gremlins too?
So thank you. There's a call. My apologies. Caller, good night. Welcome to the Marcia Weekes Show.
Good night. Marcia, I want to touch on two things.
Yes.
What's the chances of a couple of us, myself and whoever care to get themselves involved in getting some food stuff to those people? And number two, you mentioned rats. I myself had a run-in with leptospirosis, severe case called Bell's disease. And it's not something that the elderly will survive, because when you're old, the organs in the body will not be able to withstand that disease. So the situation that I'm hearing of tonight is something that needs to be dealt with tomorrow morning.
Yes.
Right? These are old people that you're dealing with. These are not young people that could withstand hours of hunger. Right? I was listening to the program, and it's time that we come together, we intervene in matters like this. These are people that put in the time and the labor, and they are in retirement, right? And they deserve better, right? We can't sit back and talk about this, though. Yes, we can talk about it, but we need to do something about it, because I know what it is to be hungry. Actually, I know what it is to be a lot of things in life. You understand? And it's not something I can't do it on my own. So I would like I could call you back tomorrow.
Yes, you could call me back. I'll have a word with Miss McCLEAN, and I will find out if there's a way that how do we get
bags, some
how do we get
bread,
food
some
in there? Yeah,
eggs, because it needs to be done. It hurts my heart. You understand? I know it is to be hungry. It's not a nice feeling, Marcia. You understand? It's not a nice feeling. It's not something that I won't go to bed.
Yes, call me back, and we're going to pray. We're going to pray about it. I had some people praying about this show tonight because Miss McCLEAN, it was just so heavy on me. I take these things very seriously, and I sent a message and I said, let's offer up some prayer tonight so that I want the people to get it, and so
there needs to be a number of how many people we're dealing with, and come with a plan.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes.
Come with a plan as early as possible, that we could get these people fed.
Yes,
you understand?
Sir. Yes, sir.
And I'm willing to go in if I can and do some washing up. Get some poison, and I'm willing to. That's me. You understand?
Yes.
And it's nothing new to me dealing with old people. I've done it, over the years. I know what it takes. You understand? I'm willing to.
Yes, sir.
I say, come a time when you got to actions, got to go with words.
Yes, sir. And I agree with you.
So I would call you in the morning.
Yes, sir.
Would 9 o'clock be okay?
Yeah, that's the we'll talk off air, okay? We'll talk off air.
Yeah, we would. Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah, I'll give you a call right after the show, and we can organize that. All right?
Okay, please do. I'm looking forward to it.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you, caller. It's sobering. It's a sobering segment. And the voice note that I couldn't open, I didn't want to play, is confirming that they got some porridge at 6:45 this evening. Some porridge.
Marcia, I heard the gentleman, and I appreciate his offer. And I will say this very frankly. I would prefer if his energies could be given to all people in their homes who need help. You understand what I'm saying? Because I do not see why John, citizen like him, should have to take up his financial resources to go to take eggs, milk, biscuits, you name it, whatever, to wash dishes where people need jobs. Today, I had reason to drop off something in my old neighborhood, and a young lady saw me, and she said, I know her mother's my age cohort, and she said, well, it was nice to meet me, and we talked. And the first thing she said to me, can you help my daughter get a job? This was the lady who grew up in my age range. And I asked her, what she did and so on. Now, this is the kind of person that can be a kitchen assistant in a geriatric hospital or school meals or whatever the case may be, from what she said to me she'd done before. There is no reason why the geriatric hospital should be understaffed. But you know what happened? We had A, B, C, and D, or whatever else. and the government sat with the IMF and agreed to cut public workers and all kinds of things. But we can't be cutting public workers. I don't know what impact it had on the geriatric, but clearly from what you're saying, at this point in time, there are staff shortages, and these shortages are causing patients to suffer. There are equipment failures, and these equipment failures are causing people to suffer. And this should not happen. These are the fundamentals. And there are people out there who want jobs. So you can't tell me that you're going to be adhering to the dictates of the IMF, but we're going to waste millions of dollars on a housing project. Remember that whole discussion we've had?
Yes.
We are wasting money on other things. We are seeing people traipsing around, and I would ask the government, no, because if you're talking about cost savings to pay for some of these things, I don't have the answer, so I'll ask the question. I can only go on what obtained in my time. What class of ticket do our ministers travel on? Do they travel on business or do they travel first class? And the reason I'm asking that is because I can tell you categorically that a business class ticket is probably at least, at most 2/3 or maybe half the price sometimes of a first class ticket. So the point I'm making, and I know we've raised it here before, and I would hope that the answer to that question would be that we generally do not travel first class. Because what I'm saying is those are the areas of wastage. Whether
Yes.
it is the prime minister, and sometimes, okay, I travel with a prime minister who traveled business class, or who sometimes sat across the plane from me. And I would also say to institutions that get money from the government, from taxpayers, like University of the West Indies, I would ask, well, he's not in Barbados right now, but we contribute to the central cost. Does the vice chancellor, for example, still travel first class? You know, these are the expenses that add up because we pay for those things. We hear a lot of talk, but I am saying that within the context of the wastage, of the excesses, of the preferences that some people insist that they will exercise, there's a lot that can be saved and that can be directed towards meeting certain basic requirements. And so that's my response to your caller just now. I appreciate his offer, but I would prefer him to be able to go on the basis of somebody calling you to say there's a Mr. John Brown living in somewhere in Black Rock or somewhere in Parish Land, in Christchurch or St. Philip, depending on, or St. George, because I feel there's a Parish Land in several, that, you know, the title is in several places, who needs some help because he or she has no children, or their children are overseas, or they are not, you know, they don't have immediate family and can do with assistance, or the family is not in a position to help. But I don't feel that a first offer should be made to government to pay. I hear them asking people to pay for this and pay for that. We hear about that in schools, but I don't have a difficulty if the country was in dire straits. But when we see people wasting, when we see people exercising extravagant choices, then I have to say to Barbadians, we have to demand better from our senior officers who perhaps feel afraid to say to their ministers and to cabinet and to the prime minister ultimately, these things need to be addressed. These things are wrong. These things are not working.
Yes, you know, Miss McCLEAN, the line is still open. I'm gonna, as you mentioned that, you know, about us looking after the people that we see. I don't know if you remember that during the election period, I was going with the camera to different areas, and I met upon this elderly gentleman, and he's living in somewhere in town. I don't remember all the areas, exactly where, but I don't know if Dave can tell me where, but Repeat. New Orleans
Mhm.
area. And it's never left me. And he said, to me that everybody comes and they look at him and nobody does anything for him. And there is somebody in the community who, a young man who actually comes and bring him food, etc. Because his family, he doesn't have family around to take care of him.
Mhm.
And I then, since it's been on my mind so much, I said, Marcia, you went there with a camera and you showed the man's home and promised him. And there's somebody on here, I don't want to call her name, but she has gone ahead and she secured a skip. And what we're going to do for Tony Tiger, his name was Tony Tiger, and we're going to play some of his video here. And as you were saying that, I told her that I was going to do it tomorrow night. I want to play something for the viewers, because what we want to do is, as you said, Miss McCLEAN, take care of those in our communities. Here is Tony Tiger living in awful conditions, and the plan is to get a skip to work with the people in the community. What we need to do for Tony Tiger is not going to cost us any money, just some energy and some time. And somebody might be able to have a bed. If you have a bed in your house, a small bed, not too big, like the twin beds, we already get it. We already have sheets. Somebody said that they will bring in the sheets for him, and don't worry about those things. I think the biggest thing is going to be a bed. We need a plumber to have to fix the bathroom. We need somebody who has the cutter to cut the yard. And we want to take a Saturday and just go up there. We have a skip. We're going to throw out everything. Right? The neighbor says, somebody says, I'm talking to the fellow now, right now on my phone, who says he can come to my home and spend the day or the night at my house till you all get his place cleaned up. So here's the video. Let's watch a little bit of it. No audio, Dave.
Neighbors asked me to pay a visit to see Tony, the tiger. This is where he lives. Not in a hotel, not in an office, not in Parliament. I am standing in the home of an 80-year-old Barbadian pensioner. The roof is falling in. The floor is rotting. Garbage surrounds his home. Rain comes inside. He lives alone. At 80 years old, Tony's neighbors try. They bring him food, they check on him, they care. But neighbors cannot rebuild a house by themselves. They cannot replace a government. They contacted the minister. They contacted the parliamentary representative. Nothing happened. And Tony has lived like this for years. Not because Barbados is poor, but because the system failed to see him. And Tony is not alone. In St. George, South, an elderly man lives in inhumane conditions. Across this country, there are seniors suffering quietly. No headlines, no press conferences, no urgency, just survival. That is not dignity. That is neglect. Democracy is not just about voting every 3, 4, or 5 years. Democracy is about who is seen, who is heard, who is protected. When an 80-year-old man can live like this for years, democracy is not working properly. Because real democracy gives a voice to the voiceless. This is what Jesus did. He went to the sick, the poor, the forgotten, and he challenged those in power to do better. This is what we're doing today. So today we're putting forward a proposal, not for one party, for all parties, for every group that wants to govern Barbados. We're calling it the No Tony Left Behind, a commitment to community democracy and elderly protection. Here's what we're proposing. First, every community must have an elected community council, 9 to 11 people chosen by residents, known by residents. Their job to know their community, to identify elderly people living in danger, to monitor housing conditions, to report urgent cases, to follow up until help comes. If this existed, Tony would not have been invisible. Second, a national elder care response
So we
system,
can pause it there, Dave.
linking housing,
We're going to play this again, and this was something that we, as I said, in the election period, and you know, the gentleman who goes and helps him daily and brings food not related to him, you know, he said, I don't expect you all to do anything. Tony said you're all not going to help him. That's what he told me. And you know, and I'm thankful for the lady who said, Marcia, I was paid for the skip. So we've been planning this outside of, you know, we've been starting it. We started it. And we are going to, because when I came home, I cried. This man, it affected me. And why I cried, Miss McCLEAN, is he's so jovial, you know, in the midst of it, he's in his right mind. And he said to me that, but ma'am, everybody promised and they don't help me. And I know that we might not be able to pay for a house, but we could go and clean up. We could replace a few floorboards, Miss McCLEAN. We could get a plumber. If you're watching and you're a plumber, and you want to say, Marcia, I will take a few hours and I will go and fix his plumbing. They told me that his bathroom, the plumbing is a problem. Fix the plumbing. Or you're a carpenter and you could put in some floorboards. We can go and get the boards. We can write a letter and we get the boards. Right? We're getting the skip already because we need to clean out in there. Maurice, I reached out to Mr. Maurice Gaskin, and he told me that he will come with us when we're going to clean up. We're going to set down baits. We're going to do all of that. Maurice Gaston, who was in environmental, you know what I mean, department. Yeah. He says he will help and give guidance, you know, on what we need to do. We want to take out everything out there and give him, take out the clothes, everything, the kitchen area, just throw away the things and just try to give him a place that is clean. Yes, a massive cleanup, Angela. Right, a massive cleanup. And even if the government, because he's been trying to get, the people in the community have been trying to get him government help, he hasn't gotten it, Angela. If we have the skip and we have the manpower, we have energy, buy some gloves, put on your water boots. Mr. Gaskin will be there with us. Okay? And we go and we clean up. Take a Saturday. You know, bring a weed whacker. Some people can be working outside, some inside.
You know, Marcia, do you know what he did? His name, and he's an older person now, but he looks like somebody who worked in the Black Rock area when I lived on Black Rock Main Road.
1 second, Miss Joshua Strawn. Don't lose your thought, Miss McCLEAN. Because you know this is live. It says, I'm a carpenter, I can help. Joshua Strawn, can you give me take this number 236-7000, 236-7000. Message me now, please, to make sure that I have you. Don't message me 236-7000. Thank you, Dave. 236-7000. You believe you can help. You're a carpenter, you're a plumber. Do you have any floorboards that just there you're not using? Are you connected to carters or anybody who can give us some? Because some of the floorboards, because I went in there and it was shaky. I almost fell in and he was telling me, don't fall, madam. So I know we don't need some floorboards. Okay. So we will wear our mask and gloves, and I am consulting Angela with Maurice Gaskin, who deals with the environment, and he promises he will come with us. He will be there because I want to make sure that we're all okay. Yeah, but continue, Miss McClean.
No, I was just saying that as I look at him, because I remember when you did this story sometime in the past, and I saw him, but he's older now. But I'm thinking he was somebody who worked in it might have been, I'm trying to figure out MTW or one of those places, but he used to work in the road. And you know, he looked so familiar, but this is the kind of person, and I'm glad that you've been able to do that. And I certainly will share it with some other people as well. But this is the kind of help to the gentleman who called about the geriatric. These are the people that need help. Because the other thing that I'm concerned about, typically when Barbadians go to the geriatric hospital and they are pensioners receiving government pensions, for example, those monies are, as far as I know, applied. So in other words, a grandchild or cousin or neighbor can't get hold of that pension check and so on, that the money then goes toward, is stopped, and the money goes towards the upkeep of the person in the geriatric hospital. So I think, I really think that this is where energy should go. And you know, as I said, I will certainly seek to rope in some people, ask them for donations or whatever the case may be, whether it is time or you know, resources or whatever the case may be. Sorry, my phone started keeping noisy, so you might have been hearing a distraction.
Yeah,
but
no
I
problem.
really want to say, Marcia, this is another example of what you have, you and Dave and the people who follow this program and support this program continue to do to make a difference in the lives of people. Because you don't only diagnose or describe problems out there and go and highlight them. You have been looking for very concrete solutions. And you know, in all that we have seen play out, members of parliament having personal assistants and then getting other assistants to go to funerals and all kind of madness. That is money that should, and they also get at least $2,500 a month. I mean, it is not a ton of money, but it certainly is money that's supposed to go to meet certain expenses. It may be even more money now. I don't know. I would have to check what's the latest. But these are cases that should not fall through the cracks. Because these are people who are supposed to have, I mean, and particularly now, and I want to say to all the members of parliament, before, if you had a situation of 25-5 or 20-10 or 16-14 or whatever, people could argue, oh, I am MP, you know, I represent, y'all represent every single Barbadian. I mean, that's once you're elected, that's the case. But from a what I call a partisan political point of view, you do not have anybody opposing you, or you are the one in charge. You've gotten everything, put it back, it being your time, your energies, your interests, your money that you're paid to do these things, not your personal money. You know, your contact with your colleagues in ministerial positions to get things done for Barbadians. But these are the most absent set of politicians I have seen in this country in a long time.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, yeah, Stephen Strickland is raising another point here, which is why I say that all is not at government, it's on us as well. That he says, unfortunately, in many cases, the contributory and government pensions are spent by family members as they cannot be stopped legally.
Legislation can change that, where persons become wards of you know, government, residents of government institutions. I don't want to use the word ward, or that may be correct. I don't know the legal term, but I would say to Mr. Strickland that in a case like that where we see those abuses, because if a man or woman is in a geriatric hospital and that person is not receiving the benefits of that pension, then legislation can be made to make it. I mean, I'm not saying that, you know, that it can be done legally by changing the rules, because that kind of thing is not fair and reasonable, you know?
Yes. Dave, they want to see the number again. There is Joshua. Joshua says that he has some tools
The
that can
carpenter.
And then somebody here, Joshua Strawn. Now there are two Joshuas. Savior, Joshua Savior. You know, there's a Joshua watching, and Joshua Strawn. And guys, this is a number. We're very serious about this. I know I'm very serious because I told him I would come back, and I am going back. And the thank God for the viewer who is already rented the skip. I'm trying to get her attention. Viewer, you know who you are. I don't want to call your name. She's rented the skip. I was doing this quietly in the background until we were ready to bring it forth. So if that viewer can remind me what date did you get the skip for? This is a number there, Joshua. Both Joshuas, look, you see the number, take the number down and save it, and then WhatsApp me. This is wow, folks. My goodness, let this sink in. I think I missed a caller, and I will go. Yeah, we understand. I'm reading my WhatsApp, guys. Please pardon me. I'm reading because people are responding in real time, and so I'm reading the messages. Okay, as they come in, and people are offering advice on how to go about it, etc. Okay, I'm just trying to reach the lady here, folks. Just say what you can do. What can you do? Okay, so David is saying we need an electrician as well. We're going to need an electrician. We need an electrician as well. Oh, wow. Guys, we're dealing with this in real time. In real time, hope is coming and help is coming in real time. Oh, okay. Let me call you back another way. Let me call you back another way. My apologies. Thank you. Oh, wow. Yeah, where help is coming. Help is coming. People are responding. Yes, good night. Welcome to the Marcia Weekes Show. I realize I missed a call from you.
Yes, Marcia. I just wanted to say, and I wanted to speak to the Prime Minister of Barbados.
Yes, ma'am.
I remember when I was growing up in Barbados, we give a lot of respect to our elderly. And right now, the elderly in Barbados are being treated just like the black belly sheep that they sent to Guyana. And to me, that makes absolutely no sense. So I'm asking the Prime Minister of Barbados, do you know what your role is? I see that some person in the chat said, I lay all the blame on the Prime Minister. And the truth is, she is the CEO of government, and you have to hold her accountable for whatever is happening. How do you have elderly people that can't really, or basically they don't have a voice right now, and we are not feeding them? That makes no sense to me. But I'm also, something that I said on this show before, I am holding the people of Barbados accountable for sitting down and saying nothing and allowing this government to treat them like they are garbage. Like we are not, unimportant, right? We're not. We're the ones who voted. Well, some of us did, some people did, and some did not, voted and put her in power. So I don't understand how she get the right to treat our elderly the way she's treating them. So I'm asking the people of Barbados, are you willing to stand up? Or are you just going to talk and do nothing? That is the question that I'm asking.
Yes. Well, thank you so much, caller. And, you always shoot straight, right to the Prime Minister. And I think that's the thing. We have to value ourselves, We have to value ourselves and recognize that we're worth it. We're worth it. Thank you, caller. Thanks for calling.
Thank you, Marcia. I just want to add one other thing. Number one, these are people that contributed to the development of Barbados. And now we're treating them like they're nothing. We're just putting them in a chair and says, okay, we're going to wait for you to die. We should not allow that. And we have to be the voices for these people. And the truth is, people of Barbados need to march. We need to march, and we need to bring everybody out. And when we march, the next march that we should have about 20,000 people showing up.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you so much for calling, caller. Thank you. Yeah, it is, Miss McCLEAN, well, after I got the call today and I sat down and wrote it out, I had to go to my youngest son and I said, Josh, please, because when you're that age, you can't help yourself. Wow.
It angers me, Marcia. It angers me because there are resources that can be deployed to make sure that the minimum, I'm not talking about a lot of fancy things, we're talking about the minimum, clean sheets, nursing assistants to make sure that people have timely meals. The question is, where are those meals being prepared now? By whom? How much are we paying? Because they're probably prepared by some private contractor. How much are we paying? What's the nutritional value of what they're getting on top of it being late? Are we giving them something worth the while? I was talking to a relative recently who happened to have been at the hospital. And I said to my sisters and my sister, because my other sister is overseas, and my niece and so on, I said, listen, if I have to go to the hospital, please be prepared to bring me food. Please, because based on what I've seen over time, I would die, because if anything I ain't eating it, you can't get me to eat it. If the food is cold and it's supposed to be hot, at a minimum warm, I can't eat it. And if I'm sick, I would probably be in a worse condition in terms of eating. These are not things that should be happening. But then people are going to go and they're going to bring some man from over in England, over in a way, as Bajans would say, who, like Christopher Columbus, reinventing things that already existed. And far from maintaining what was inherited, things have been dismantled, allowed to collapse. We talk about the patients. Let me move away quickly from because as you were talking about the staff, I kept saying to myself, but like in a supermarket or a bank or a fancy store downtown, your staff are your internal customers. Your staff servicing the patients are your internal customers. The patients are the customers. But if you do not have good service to your internal customers, if they don't get the tools to work with, if they don't have good working conditions, then they can't deliver to your patients, in this case, at the hospital, but the geriatric or QEH. But we can run around the world posturing.
Yes. Well, you know, Miss McCLEAN, I want to say to the gentleman who called about helping the patients in there, in the geriatric, I will still find out. I know it will be a little more difficult to get that done, but I promise him I will find out. So I will. And then secondly, what Miss McCLEAN is talking about helping in your own community. I think that is how we are going to solve this problem, you know. And I don't know, everybody don't necessarily believe in God or go to church, you know, but you believe in life, you know. Whatever you give, what you sow, you reap. And we all are going to be elderly senior at one point in our life, you know. And so find somebody in your community, you know. The lady who is paying for the skip, she's reminding me that we said July 24th. Someone was asking, I know Angela, you were asking about the date. So it's the skip is booked. It's already booked, because this is not something we did because of this show tonight. This is something we've been planning. July 24th, we have a little group that we put together, a WhatsApp group. Just a few of us in there from the community and myself. July 24th is the date. Can you put that in your calendar, people? You saw the bed. Dave, can you roll it back to the bed for me? Can you find the bed? And that bed has to go. We have to throw it out. You see the bed there, Dave? Yes, thank you. Let me move this comment so you can see the bed. We want to clean it out and put a twin bed inside there. Right? We can put a twin bed in there, Angela. We could put a twin bed in there. All right, we just throw it out. And I was told, don't worry about the sheets and stuff. All of those will come. You know, we can get some paint as well. Yeah, we have the. Let me see what size skip it is, because we're going to have it there. We have it there for 10 days. We have the skip there for 10 days. I know that a lot of people have it rough as well, Square. But what I want to tell you is this. Sometimes in your hardship, whatever you think your suffering is so great, and you can reach into that and help somebody else, then, you know, sometimes you will be so surprised, you know, Miss McCLEAN, how your issues get worked out, or you feel you know what, you help somebody and it helps you and your attitude and mood and how you deal with your own issues. And all I'm saying is that you can't leave somebody like this, who said that different MPs come and look at him. The government promised him this, they promise and nothing done. And you just say, oh, the government is wrong, and walk away. No, that can't be how we are to behave. Yeah. So, yeah, so I understand Square 4, yeah, because, you know, it's not like we're rich. Okay, so, I see, with the skip. All right, Joshua, you really need to call me. So you're saying that the skip must have like metal in one and board in one? I didn't know about that. I'll have to ask Mr.
of what the contents, maybe metal. You have a metal dump, for example. So It depends on what. I mean, for example, if you had maybe sheets of galvanized or something that you had to dispose of, that would probably, but you can verify that from the people who rent the skip.
Yes, yes. I know the lady who's doing it. She's listening. She's listening, so she will find out what they're saying. All right. So the skip is booked for July 24th. How many of you, before we come up, we have 2 minutes. How many of you will go and help on that day, on the 24th? If you can go and help on the 24th of July, let me see a thumbs up in the comment section. How many of you can do that? You know, even if we have say about 10-15 people, Miss McCLEAN, we can get this done in no time. And we have a okay. Joshua says I want to cut the grass. Excellent. Yeah, there's a lot of grass around the house. Bring a machete, bring everything like that, because there's some big trees are growing up around there. Okay, nobody will go. And I know people are very scornful. You know, they're scornful. But
I may also be a little concerned with all that we've been talking about, leptospirosis and all that. But as you said, you'll be advised by Maurice, who will tell you how to handle things. You make sure you have your
Maurice
gloves
is going to be there.
and wash your hands and so on, you know, when you're finished.
Yeah. Yeah, and a walker. Somebody said they have a chainsaw and they have a walker. And gloves. You got to have gloves. We know that from Mr. Gaskin. You need your gloves and you need your mask, long sleeve, long pants. All right. Okay,
Yep.
Strickland. Listen, this is a live. We have a live planning session. Stephen Strickland is saying that he's seen construction companies dump metal, board, and concrete in the same skip. I thought so too, but
just confirm. There's no harm in confirming. You know,
we wear something on our heads. Who else is coming with? Is Miss McCLEAN? I don't see nobody saying they're coming.
We will persevere. We will persevere. You will get some volunteers.
The date is July 24th. It's a Friday. It's the skip is there from the Friday. That means
the 25th, 26th.
So we will, the 25th is a Saturday, so we will go down the 25th. But the skip is being put there from the Friday, okay? But it's there for 10 days, so we can do that entire weekend.
Put it this way, buddy. When July ends, you want to, or put it when August comes in, you want to make sure that you've done, you know, that you've contributed. This is to the listeners, contributed to making a difference in his. If it's the same person, we used to call him Tiger. You know, like we used to call him Tiger, and I could see him walking now, hardworking man, and I suspect. I mean, he's older now, but that looks like the person. But
yes, and the guy says we're going to get there's somebody that's going to do all of his nails and give him a good, you know, going to fix him up nice. I have somebody who deals with the elderly, and they are going to give him a pedicure and a manicure as well, and you know. Yeah. Good. Yes, the young men in the community, I'm told that they will help. I'm going to go ahead of time. There's a young man Pedro we are working with in the community as well. So he said he will get some people, but we can't just depend on that. All right, its time is gone, Miss McCLEAN. But the way the show went is not the way we planned it, because you know you were supposed to deal with the Guyana, but obviously that was not.
But that will come again. This is important. Things unfold sometimes in ways that we as you said, that you're almost guided. rather than
Yes,
you know,
that you're you know.
you set up
Right.
your plan and then something happens to trigger
Yeah.
a different direction. But
And we don't care about the naysayers, you know, we stay
uh,
focused and
at
move
the end of
ahead.
the day, you get results.
Yeah, do what we have to do. The reading program is going really well here in St. Phillips
Excellent.
and in
Excellent.
Collymorock. So I'm really very happy about that. So guys, I know I'm going to think you're too shy to say you're coming, so you can message me and let me know that you are going to be there. Okay.
And bring a couple of your workmates or family or neighbors.
Yes. So Jacqueline is
And
coming. Jacqueline is in
Okay.
St. Philip, and she goes and help with the elevate as well. But
elevate
Jacqueline,
program.
yeah, it's gonna be. So we're gonna do it on the Saturday. I'll do up a nice flyer and everything for it. The skip is gonna be there from the 24th. Those who want to go down with me on the 24th, we'll show the skip where to go, make our assessments, but our real work is gonna start the 25th. Okay.
Yeah. And to the naysayers, I asked them, what have you done for anybody lately?
Yeah.
To those, no, I'm serious. People will talk and criticize, but what have you done to make a difference in somebody's life lately?
Thank you. And Angela, thank you for not just talking. Angela Knight, she said she will be there. And I know she will be there. She will be there. And this is somebody who you would never expect, based on her work. But she's going to be there. She's going to roll up her sleeves, get off of her big chair. And Angela is going down there and I know she's going to have on her hat and gloves and boots, water boots and everything. But Angela, thank you for saying that. Yeah. All right, no problem. Joshua is going to be there. The two men will be there. For real. So I know that myself, Angela, Jacqueline, and the two Joshua, that's 5. We need about 10 more.
You'll get them.
Yes, they'll message me. They will message me. All right, folks, this is where we end tonight. Miss McCLEAN, thank you for persevering now.
You're very welcome. As I said, the gremlins won't stop. The show goes on. The work continues to be done.
Amen. And it does work out for the better. So we will take up that issue with Guyana a little later. Tomorrow night, we remember, Dave, just put that up again before we go. Tomorrow night, we have the doctor who's on from St. Lucia. She's a trained medical doctor. And she is going to be in our in our health corner. We won't have Mr. Gaskin tomorrow. We're going to have her. And so she is going to talk about post-COVID vaccine symptoms, what those are, the long COVID, and then she's going to talk about natural recovery. How do you get your body back naturally? And so she's a herbalist and a dermatologist, she over 30 years of experience, so she'll be with us tomorrow. All right. So this is where we sign off. God bless you all.
Take care. Thanks for having me, Marcia.
Yes, it's a pleasure.
Keep up the good work. All righty.
It's a pleasure. God bless you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, everybody. Thank you.
Too much pain and agony, too much mothers facing tragedy, not another statistic. He was a real man, somebody's son, 6 feet underground, somebody's father who won't be around, and the cycle it just repeats. Fatherless son shut down in the street. 240 sons killed in the last 7 years, along with the pain and tears, families still living in fear. Society failed. When every day we see our sons getting buried or going jail, society failed. All are we fail. You could stop there and point your finger, but we are the ones to blame. Society fail. Society fail. You could sit down in your denial. God knows this crisis is real. Society fail. All are we fail. These are open wounds that time alone cannot heal. 14 years old and he get expelled. Life at home is a living hell. Too young to go polytechnic, only a little boy. Every day, no, he congregates on the block where he gets elevated, but still lacking identity. The gang is the surrogate family, indoctrinated, bound by loyalty, thinking that's where he belongs. Another victim of the system, Lord. Where did I go wrong? Society failed. Society failed. When every day we see our sons in the paper on the front page. Society failed. All are we fail. While we talk on brass tacks each day, another song gone down in the grave. Society failed. Society failed. When so many now get reject, that neglect does turn to regret. Society fail. All are we fail. Sadly, every statistic now tells the tale. Parents trying to make ends meet, working hard 7 days a week. Every day they trying their best. Is this the price of progress? So now the cat gone before the horse in the heart. All they feel is lost. Can't wait till the tree gets strong. We got to shape them when they are young. What we fight is not flesh and blood, so we can fight it on we own. Let me take this one to the throne. Only King Jesus could bring them home. Society failed. Society failed. When they choose to turn a blind eye, pretend the gun dropping from the sky. Society failed. All are we fail. From Parliament to the Senate, the policies and the laws they made. Society failed. Society failed. From the classroom to the pulpit, church and state are all in it. Society failed. All are we fail. Just to make the grade, our young men now must be saved.